Hey everyone, it's Ashley and welcome to June's You Choose. For those of you who don't know what this is, basically every month on Twitter I let you guys vote on a genre, theme, or area of book that I get to read from the following month. So you guys voted earlier this month and you chose the area, I guess, of, well, this sounds weird. For those of you who don't know, basically now I'm going to tell you 4 books that you get to choose from, and the book that gets the most amount of votes I'm going to read in June and then also review in the month of June. If you want to kind of catch up on You Choose or hear more about it, I will leave the playlist for all the other videos down below so you can kind of find out more about it. But without further ado, here are the choices for June's area, which is, well, this sounds weird. Before I get started with the books, I had a few people on Twitter asking me what this meant as an area or theme of books. So basically, I used to work at a bookstore and I would curate a shelf that I titled, Well, This Sounds Weird. And it's literally just books where I read the synopsis or I find out about it and I literally immediately think well, this sounds really weird. But in a good way, in a way where you're this sounds completely out of the norm, this sounds like it's going to be completely different from anything else I've ever read. It just sounds weird. So there's not really much more I can do to describe this. I do have quite a few books on my shelf that I think fit this category. It was actually quite hard to narrow it down to 4. So I might make this a category again in the future. Also, if you want recommendations for books that I think sound weird, I can do that. But the problem is that the majority of them I haven't read, so it would be a recommendations video based solely on the synopsis of the books. But if you want that, let me know in the comments down below and I can definitely find time to do that for you guys. Okay, the first book you guys get to choose from was actually part of the You Choose video last month, and I apologize that I am doing the same book 2 months in a row, but it fits this category so well, and also I want to read it so freaking bad. And that is The Library at Mount Char by Scott Hawkins. This book follows a girl named Carolyn who lives in an infinite library, and by that I mean it's literally never ending. And she's been there pretty much her whole life, and she has been forced to study at the feet of a man who thinks that he's God. And that is basically all I'm going to tell you. I think that personally sounds really freaking weird. I think that the whole premise of an infinite library sounds amazing and also odd, and how are they going to do that in a book? I don't know. I'm just really, really excited about this. I feel like it's gonna be one of those books where the whole time I'm reading it, I'm this is odd, this is odd, this is really odd. But again, in a really good way. And also this book gets really good reviews, and a lot of friends of mine whose opinions I really trust really loved it, so I really, really, really want to get to it. Next, we have I Crawl Through It by A.S. King. I've read a few A.S. King books. I've loved all of them, and all of them have been super weird. This one, I'm actually not even going to summarize for you guys. I'm just going to read the first few sentences. 4 teenagers are on the verge of exploding. The anxieties they face at every turn have nearly pushed them to the point of surrender. They are desperate to cope, but no one is listening. So they will lie. They will split in 2. They will turn inside out. They will even build an invisible helicopter to fly them far away. But nothing releases the pressure. Because as they discover, the only way to truly escape their world is to fly right into it. That sounds weird. That sounds like a lot of really surreal type stuff is going to happen in this book, and I'm super excited to dive into it. And I also really wanted to include a YA book for you guys to pick from, so this is the YA choice for the month of June. And also, if you haven't read anything by A.S. King, I could not recommend her books highly enough. I absolutely love her writing style. I just haven't read this particular one yet. Next, we have Warp by Lev Grossman. I've never read anything by Lev Grossman. I haven't read The Magicians. I know a lot of people have. I'm a little bit more excited to read Warp, and also this one does sound weird, whereas The Magicians sounds like just a normal magic-centered fantasy novel. This one apparently follows a boy who is always inside his head, and inside his head there's fantasies going on, magic and craziness and different worlds, but in his real world life is really boring and he's having a really hard time struggling to cope with being a 20-something. And I just feel it has the potential to be really character driven and resonate with me, while also having that really odd, weird type of storyline and writing style. And last but not least, we have a short story collection, and that is The Dark and Other Love Stories by Deborah Willis. I have been eyeing this for quite some time now, and it looks super, super weird. So it's basically 13 stories about love and just the way that affects your life. But for example, one of the short stories is about a girl who falls in love with a man who wants to turn her into a bird, And then another one is about a wife who finds a gaping hole in the floor of her home she shares with her husband, a hole that only she can see. And I feel like that just sounds so odd. Like, it just sounds really weird, but like really weird in a way where like I'm like, yes, I need to read that right now. So yeah, I'm really excited about this. Again, it's short stories, so it's gonna be like a little bit more difficult to do a review of, but definitely still worth it, and I'm really excited about it. So okay, so those are the 4 choices for June's You Choose. Just so you guys know, in case you haven't participated before, I will leave the poll open for 7 days. You can comment down below with your vote if you'd like, but it is easiest for me if you click on the Twitter link down below for the Twitter poll, because Twitter tabulates the poll for me and I have to do absolutely no work and no math at all, which I prefer as a person. But if you want, you can still comment on the YouTube video. I will still count those votes. Also, if you want to comment down below and let me know which books you're most excited about in this, like, June's You Choose, like which ones did you hear about and now you want to read, I want to hear about that. And other than that, I will see you guys soon with another video. Happy reading.